You would think Prateek is an expert on this thing. He understands this very well. He understands the mathematics of it. He understands the assumptions behind it. He understands all of this. So let's ask Prateek about, any time that he travels internationally. And welcome everyone to another edition of Not So Drunk Agile. With me, as always, is
Prateek Singh.
My name is Danny Vacanti. Again, circumstances have overtaken us. We've settled on a time to do this where neither one of us can really drink. I've got a water. I don't know if that counts. I think we,
I'm sure as the weather changes, as the days change, I'm sure we'll get back to
yeah,
that.
we got it. It's just, yeah, it's been, it's, yeah,
Yeah.
it's been kind of a weird couple of weeks. Um, let's get right to it though. Pratik and I were talking just very briefly before we hit record. The last couple of episodes, depending on
The
how.
episode before the episode. Yeah,
And we should probably just record those, by the way, and just
yeah.
ship them. But the last couple of episodes we've done, depending on how we publish these things, because we never know how we publish them, but we've got a couple in the bag that are really, really long. So we thought for this one, we'd probably keep it a little bit shorter and maybe tee up more questions rather than give so many answers. I mean, I gave you a couple answers, I think, but more kind of tee up questions and have you think about it. So again, depending is going to be kind of the key word, I think, in the episode tonight. Depending on how we publish these, we've been talking a little bit about dependencies in organizations, and one of the things we wanted to hit on in a little bit more detail tonight was, okay, well, yes, organizations have these dependencies, and yes, a lot of times they're baked in, and you just can't do anything about it. But you're still going to be asked for a plan, and more importantly, you're still going to be asked for a forecast, right? If you start work on on an epic or a feature or a whatever initiative, whatever it is that spans those dependencies, somebody somewhere is going to ask you or someone for a forecast. Hey, when will this thing be done? So Pratik, let's start with that. I mean, how, in the context of known dependencies, how do we even go about answering that question? Answering that question. So I don't know. Do you want to start with maybe how not to do it, or I don't know. What's your plan
I
on
think
on,
I
on
think
where to
we'll
go from?
start with how not to do it, and then
Yeah, yeah.
with how not to do it. Um, but yeah, let's take the traditional view on this. Let's say there are three, sub features that make up a feature that needs to be shipped. And these three have very strict dependencies on each other. Subfeature A needs to finish in order for subfeature B to start. B needs to finish in order for C to start. Now, they could be on the same team, they could be on different teams, but there is this strict dependencies. Usually, when we work with folks, we see that these three are on different teams: so team one, team two, team three. Um, Usually, how people go about figuring out when will it be done in this case is they let me figure out when feature one that sub feature A will be done. Then when this is done, I'll start sub feature B. When that is done, I'll start sub feature C, and I'm just going to line these up, make a pretty grand chart, and the date that we get at the end is the date we'll communicate to our customers. That is the way usually people go about doing this. Well, I was going to ask Dan, what is the problem with that?
Okay.
Sounds good to
So
me.
yeah.
Sounds
All right.
logical. I asked the team told me.
Yeah. Yeah, that's yeah, there's that magical term Gantt chart, you know. So the first, I think, and if you've been paying attention at the very least for anything that we have said since we've started this, I don't know what you would call this thing, um, then you should be jumping out of your seat right now, jumping up and down and screaming about what's wrong with that. And
Yeah.
I'll give you a second to think about it. The answer is when you take that kind of Gantt chart approach, it's deterministic, right? You are assuming that you know with 100% certainty that feature A, subfeature A is going to finish on this date, which means that
Hmm.
subfeature B will start on that date, and
On
then
that day.
subfeature B will finish on. It's a very, 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 very deterministic. And when I say deterministic, I mean you like I said, you know with 100% certainty when these things are going to finish. Hopefully, all of us know that that's not the world that we live in, right? Just because we say subfeature A is going to finish on October 1st does not necessarily mean that's what's going to happen. So same rules apply when we're doing planning. Throw this whole idea of deterministic thinking out the window. Okay, so Prateek, I throw deterministic. I don't know if you wanted to say anything else about that,
Well,
but
I did want to get a little bit more into the math of it. Let's say you write like current state. You're being deterministic, and you're doing this, and a lot of teams, without being aware of all the different techniques available to them, would come up with a date that they calculate using some sort of average.
okay.
And
I thought that was going to
we're
be part
gonna
two, but
oh
let's go there. Okay,
yeah,
let's go there. Let's go there. Let's go there.
and I'm gonna make a horrible assumption that your average is accurate 50% of the time. Like 50%, we all know that's a terrible assumption, but let's just go
Yeah,
with that.
it isn't, but yeah, we'll say 50%, right?
So 50% of the time you'll be done then or before. So you've set the scan chart up. Now, because you have them in a series, because you have three back to back, assuming everything else that Dan just said, assuming that team B can start when or sub feature B can start when sub feature A is done, all those things. You have at best zero point 0.5 times zero point 0.5 times zero point 0.5 chance of actually hitting that date. So that's 12.5%. You're thinking it's 50%. You're thinking it's 100%. You're probably thinking it's 100% certainty. We've got all the estimates. We've calculated all the averages, but it's actually 12.5%. It's closer to zero than it is to 100
Now, see,
in that function.
this is where I love to chime in, and Pratik's going to regret going where he went here, because see, if you were just listening for the past 2 minutes, you would think Pratik is an expert on this thing. He understands this very well. He understands the mathematics of it. He understands the assumptions behind it. He understands all of this. So let's ask Pratik about, any time that he travels internationally. And I don't know why, but whenever he books a ticket anywhere, be it to Europe, be it to India, be it to anywhere, he tries to get as many connections as possible. It's like why take one leg when you can take 12 or whatever? And so it's funny. I'm always getting a call from Pratik. It's like, "Hey Dan, I'm in Delhi. I got here a day late and I don't know where my bags are." Yeah, no
I
wonder.
don't I do not see what one has to do with the other. I
I
just
just,
not does not compute. I don't understand.
and I'm pretty sure we went and we looked up the on-time percentages of your flights
Yeah,
and I think most of them had somewhere around an 80% chance of being on time.
yeah.
And I think it was your last trip to India. I think you had 3 legs, didn't you?
I think I did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
each three
Oh, last week
legs.
was just two legs. Before that was three for sure. Yeah.
Okay, all right. Well, maybe
Yeah.
the time before for sure. Anyway, there were 3 legs. So everybody, just taking the example that Pratik just did, 3 legs, each with an 80% chance of being on time. What are your chances of actually arriving to your destination on time? Anybody want to do that math? I don't know. I can't do that math very quickly in my head, but it's less than
Closer to
50%,
50,
right? I mean,
51.2.
is it
Yeah.
is it less? It's less than 50%, isn't it?
I think it's about 50 because it'll be zero
Is
point
it
0.8 times zero point 0.8
0.64
is
times zero point 0.8?
0.64,
Whatever. Yeah, okay. Anyway,
and then
but anyway, it's
80% of 0.64 will be 12. Yeah, 51.2.
all right,
51.2.
51.2. So there you go. Yeah, so right at 50%. You got a 50, it's like flip a coin at that point. You got pretty much just as much chance of not arriving as you do arriving.
Which I'm glad that you just went there. I'm glad Dan just went there because this is the next evolution of this, right? The teams get all trained on flow metrics and predictability, and they go, "Oh yeah, that average stuff was horrible. I can give you a much higher confidence. I can give you 80% confidence." Well, now you line up the 80% and you still have that problem. That now you're thinking you have a pretty decent confidence, but your confidence, actual confidence, is much, much lower than what you initially thought.
Yeah. So, I mean, because that's I think that that bears repeating a little bit. If we go back to the first example that Prateek gave, you're doing a forecast based on trying to line up averages. You think, well, you think you've got a 100% chance when you've really got a 50% chance, but it's even worse than that because you think you've got a 50% chance when really you've got a what 0.125 chance,
Yeah.
right? So if you're smart enough to acknowledge, hey, forecasting based on averages, no good. I want better than 0.12 or well, 12%,
12.5.
12.5%.
Yeah. Yeah.
I want better than 12.5%. It's like, okay, well, we'll have everybody forecast at the 80th percentile.
Yeah.
Okay, great. But now you've gone from 12.5% to whatever it was,
About 50%. Yeah. 51.2. Yeah.
51.2%.
Yeah.
You're still not getting that level of confidence, whatever you want to call that, that you think you are.
What is worse in that case, and at least I think it's worse, is because you have gone and told someone, I'm 80% confident that this will be the date. And now, even though you're 80% confident, you should really be about 50% confident on that date.
Well, and let's think about the consumers of that information. If if I'm a manager or I'm a stakeholder and I've got three teams working on this stuff for me, and each team comes to me and says, "Hey, 80% chance, 80% chance, 80% chance," I'm probably not thinking too much about this, and I'm thinking I've got an 80% chance when you don't. So this is where I think we'll should we end on the question then? Is
No,
that
one more thing.
one?
One
Okay,
more thing.
okay, okay, okay.
One major assumption that you had mentioned earlier, which we haven't really gone deep into, it is that all of this assumes that as soon as subfeature A ends, subfeature B will be started. Not can be started, but will be started. It
Yeah.
is absolutely possible that the team's working on something completely different, and we don't have the ability to start that feature yet. So,
And I was gonna mention this with the airplane example. I mean, because I think the airplane example is a
yep.
um, classic example. I'll just say example. I just keep saying example till whatever.
Till you find
Yeah.
an example.
So my first flight gets in late. That doesn't necessarily mean that there is another flight right there ready for you to take
Waiting.
off,
Right.
waiting. I was like, oh wait, okay, we've got the special in reserve Pratika's late flight, right? That doesn't take off until Pratik lands.
Yeah.
That's not how it works. It might be hours later, it might be days later. You don't know because you missed that connection, right? So that's for me. That's we probably should have done a whole episode just on travel, maybe something like that. Um, okay, so you might be thinking, um, well, all right, well, what do we do? How do we handle this? And we got all these problems. We got all these problems of dependencies and lining up probabilities and the math involved with those, the assumptions behind those or whatever. So how could I ever possibly give a forecast if I'm in this situation, and my guess is most of you are, how could I ever possibly give a forecast about when this high level feature will be done? I'm guessing, Pratik, that's where we kind of want to leave it in this
Yeah,
episode,
you'll,
right?
you'll find out in another episode someday.
Yeah. Yeah. We want to we want to hear from you. What do you
Yeah.
think? If that's the problem, if you've got three features that are dependent, and let's say let's say you have the data to be able to do the forecast for each individual one, like we talked about
Mhm.
before. How do we answer this question? What do we do? Because like I said, you're going to be asked it. I don't know. Do you want to do you want to frame it another way or put anything around
No,
that?
that's. I mean, again, yeah, you have data for each of them. You know how to forecast each individually. How do you go about forecasting? Let's make this even easier. Let's say these are three different teams. So you have data for team A, team B, and team C. How do you go about forecasting this dependency chain where feature one finishes, then feature two has to start, and then feature three has to start. They're all three different teams. How do you figure out what is a good way to go about it? Yeah.
So the gauntlet's been thrown down. Let us know. All of you know how to leave a comment. Leave us a comment. Give, we want to hear your thoughts. We want to hear your ideas. And then Prateek will come back and tell you all how wrong you are. I won't, because I'm nice. He's not nice.
You're nice.
I will tell you good job and great guess,
Who was telling my travel horror stories in the middle
I
of
know,
an
that was
episode about
awful. Yeah.
dependencies?
Yep. Arrived 3 days late, no bags. Um, all right. So with that, I guess with that, we'll leave you with that kind of hanging out there. Um, just want to say thanks all for sticking with us. I hope this one was a little bit more interesting, if hopefully a little bit more shorter and a little bit to the point. So I want to say thank you to Prateek Singh. Where is
Running around
the
somewhere.
doormat? Yeah, okay.
She's running around somewhere.
The bath mat. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Thanks to Prateek for joining us. My name is Daniel Vacanti. Thanks to all of you for sticking with us to the end of this episode, and we will see you in the next one. Good night, everyone. If you like this content, all of you know how YouTube works. Please like and subscribe to this channel. We'd love to get your feedback and love to put more quality content out for you. Prateek, what else can they do?
Use the links in the description to reach out to us. You can find us on LinkedIn. See if there's a way we can work together. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, we'd love to see you. Thanks everybody for watching, and we hope to see you again very, very soon.